What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Today I want to talk to you about Batman, specifically the 1986 script for the 1989 Batman movie, written by Sam Hamm. I believe this is the first script for this movie, and I like reading scripts when I can. Like I said whenever I talked about the Superman Lives script written by Kevin Smith, I don't know how legal this is, but I just Googled Sam Hamm Batman script, and this was literally at the top of the Google results. So I don't think that it's too much of an issue. It's pretty easy to find. So if this was illegally leaked and I wasn't supposed to read it, I apologize, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. But I like reading scripts. I like looking at where a movie got started and then looking at the movie and seeing, okay, this thing is very different, this thing is kind of similar, and then they just remove this thing entirely. So with this script, the first half of it is pretty much exactly identical to the first half of the Batman movie. There might be a couple of lines of dialogue that are a little different, but more or less it is the same story. And then the second half does just about everything different. There's a little bit of similarities. For example, Batman and the Joker do face off against each other in an abandoned church tower, but other than that, it is virtually unrecognizable in the second half of this script. So I'm going to assume that you have seen the 1989 movie if you're watching this video. I'm not going to talk about everything that movie did. I'm just going to kind of compare and contrast here, assuming that you have already seen the movie. So some big things that are different. Alexander Knox somehow finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. We don't really get to see his detective process. He's looking up old photos of Bruce Wayne, and then he comes to Vicky and says, hey, Bruce Wayne is Batman. We don't really know how he figured that out. It's mostly many jumps to conclusions that he just happens to get right. But we don't really know kind of what led him to that process, other than he is jealous of Bruce and Vicky. And in the movie, we got a lot of playful banter between Knox and Vicky, but I never got the feeling that he was seriously in love with her. In the script, you do get that feeling, because he has actually known her for years. When he comes to the Gotham Gazette, or the Gotham Globe, whichever one he works at, and he sees her at his desk, it's like, Vicky, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Whereas in the movie, this is them meeting for the first time. And so I like that they are lifelong friends. I'm not as invested in him being head over heels in love with her and being jealous of her and Bruce. Not too fond of that, but I do like that these two are friends, and whenever he calls her out and says, you're losing your focus on the mission, we're trying to do a story on the Batman, and you're obsessed with your boyfriend, when he calls her out like that, it has more weight whenever he's known her for years than when he's known her for a week. So I like that. Also, in this script, Joker is not the person who killed Bruce Wayne's parents. That is something that Sam Hamm actually went on record as saying, like, hey, that wasn't my idea. I think it might have been a special feature in one of the DVDs, I don't remember. But he said, hey, that wasn't me, that was someone else. And that is true. In this script, Joker was not the one who killed Bruce's parents. Having said that, this is not an ideal Batman from the comics. A lot of people have a lot of issues with the 1989 movie, and I would say rightly so. Just one thing that they complain about is Joker being the one who killed the Waynes, but also you have Batman indiscriminately killing more people than the Joker did over the course of the movie. When he blows up Axis Chemicals, I'm pretty sure he kills more people than the Joker killed with his Smilex infecting all the beauty supplies in the city. But in this script, Batman is even more brutal and more vicious than he is in any portrayal that I have seen in live-action media. We've seen Batman kill people before in Batman vs. Superman, this movie, Batman Returns, but nothing as bad as what this script does. There are some pretty graphic moments, and I feel like if this had been made into a movie as it was written, it probably would have been a soft R or a very hard PG-13. There are a couple of F-bombs. There's a lot more language here in the script than there is in the movie. And also the brutal violence. There's one point, it's when Vicky is up on that fire escape and Batman is fighting Joker's thugs in the alley, and he's beating them up and she's getting pictures. At one point, one of the thugs is about to shoot Batman, and Batman grabs another thug and throws him into the line of fire. And in the movie we got, got, Batman doesn't start killing people until the very end of the movie. He's pretty careful not to kill anyone up until that point. And so Sam Hamm's Batman, a little bit more violent, a little bit more bloodthirsty than the one that we got on screen, I think, at least for the 1989 movie. You could argue that in the first 5 minutes of Returns, when he puts a stick of dynamite on a circus strongman and then smiles, that's more bloodthirsty than what we get here. But that was a difference that I noticed pretty early on. And then you also had the Joker. He acts a little different here than what Jack Nicholson portrayed him as. Jack Nicholson, up until the part where Batman takes his balloons, he is pretty calm, and you feel like he is in control of the scenario. There's one point where he destroys his TV, and he's upset that the news is giving credit to Batman for what he's doing. But most of the time, you get the feeling that he hasn't quite lost his temper at something that's going on. He shoots Bruce, but then he's laughing about it as he does it. He's not losing his temper as he shoots Bruce. In this script, there are multiple times where Joker looks like he's about to just get on the ground and start pounding his fists and crying because he's just throwing a whiny crybaby temper tantrum. It's really weird. It doesn't feel like the Joker at all. And there are many moments in this script where he feels exactly like the movie because it's the same scenes, the same dialogue and everything. But there are a few moments where he does not quite feel like the Joker that we get in the comics or the Joker that we get in the movie. And in the movie, when he finally shoots Bob, he's angry, but you feel like it's been building up to that. When you have multiple scenes like that where he gets angry and he starts screaming, "No, this can't happen, this isn't fair," it kind of loses its weight when he does that at the end when he shoots Bob, because he does it all the time. Also, this version of Joker is obsessed with Vicky Vale, but not as much, and also you don't really understand where or how he became obsessed with Vicky. At least in the movie we got, you see Bob taking pictures right before Joker kills that one mobster with the feather, and then he's showing Joker pictures later, and Joker sees the picture of Vicky, and then he's like, well, I want to get with her. And then there's a couple of scenes where he wants to get with her. There's a scene at the museum, there's a scene at her apartment, and then he brings her up to the bell tower in the movie. In the script, we don't get the scene where Bob brings the pictures to Joker. So, out of nowhere, Joker wants to meet Vicky at the museum, and in that moment, she's never met him. We see no reason why Joker would be obsessed with her at that point. And then, instead of showing up in person to her apartment, he sends her a box of wax ears with some note about Van Gogh, and then Bruce goes out on horseback to try and stop the Joker from doing something, and then, at the end of the movie, we still get the showdown between Batman and Joker in the bell tower, but Vicky is not there in the bell tower because Vicky is with Knox. Knox is trying to he grabs a Batman costume from a store and puts it on a police spotlight, creating a faux bat signal to try and tell Batman, who's up in the Batplane, hey, those balloons over there, you need to get rid of those balloons. And so Vicky is with Knox while Batman is having his confrontation with the Joker, and then Knox actually dies in the script. And I feel like that's something that probably stayed for a while. I did read another script for this movie a while back. It's been several years ago, and I remember it was also pretty close to the movie we got. I don't remember if Knox lived in that script or not, but when you watch the movie, every time I watch the movie, there's one part where Vicky is driving the car, and Knox is on the hood, like leaning up on the window, and then she slams the brakes, and then throws him into several bags of garbage. And every time I watch the movie, I keep thinking, whoa, did Knox just die? And I forget that he's at the press conference at the end of the movie. But here, in this script, he does die. And it kind of comes out of nowhere. I don't really know why the script felt they needed to do that. At least at the end, he is trying to get Batman to help defeat the Joker, because when Knox figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, he figures that out pretty early in the script. He wants Batman to stop being Batman. He says, I want you to stop doing this, and I want you to stay away from Vicky. And then Bruce says, well, I can't stop being Batman as long as the Joker is out there doing stuff. And then Knox says, okay, but at least stay away from Vicky. And then you get the feeling that Batman is like, okay, I guess I'll do that. And then immediately, in the next scene, he's with Vicky, and she's saying, so you're just going to stop being Batman? So that was weird. It felt like there was a scene missing, even though this is a complete script. There shouldn't have been a scene missing at the script phase. But it was really odd how they treated the relationship between Batman and Vicky. Because, like I said, Alexander Knox, he figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and we don't really get to see his detective process. He just kind of jumps to conclusions, and he happens to be right. He goes to Vicky, and he says, hey, your boyfriend is Batman. And she says, no, he's not. You're being stupid. Leave me alone. And then when Batman saves Vicky from the museum, he takes her to the Batcave, and then she calls him Bruce at one point. And then he says, are you talking to me? Who's Bruce? So he's still trying to protect his identity at that point, and I guess she's kind of second-guessing herself. Maybe this isn't Bruce, maybe it is, because at one point he signs a picture that he took, or that she took. He signs a picture that she took of him fighting Joker's goons. He signs it like Love B, and then she says, Bruce? And he says, well, what are you talking about? So it's like Love Batman, but he's kind of playing with her a little bit, but then later in the movie, there's a really stupid scene here where Bruce is at his office at Wayne Technologies. They don't call it Wayne Enterprises. He is in his office at Wayne Technologies, and then he goes down to the lobby, goes into the bathroom where there is a telephone in the bathroom. He looks around, makes sure the bathroom is empty. Then he calls Vicky, and he says, Vicky, it's me, Batman. And then she says, Bruce, I know it's you. And he says, who's Bruce? It's me, Batman. And then this guy walks in and says, hey, Bruce. And then he, hangs up the phone really quickly, oh no, what did I just do? That scene is so stupid because you know where else Batman would have a phone? In his private office, in his car. It was the 1980s. He's a billionaire. He probably has a car phone at his home. Anywhere where someone is not going to walk in and expose his secret identity that he is still trying to keep secret from Vicky Vale. That scene was so stupid. Also, the script tries to make it seem like Batman is more flirty with Vicky than Bruce Wayne is. Bruce Wayne makes it a point to be very guarded and closed off, which makes sense because he's got a lot of deep stuff buried that he doesn't want to reveal to Vicky on their first date. There's this one scene where after they've slept together, he's in the bathroom singing a song, and then she runs in and catches him, and then he acts like, oh wow, I don't want to sing, I can't sing, and so he puts up those barriers, and that's kind of interesting. And then the movie wants to play around with the idea that he's more comfortable as Batman, and so he's more open with her when he's Batman, but he still doesn't want her to know that he's Bruce Wayne. It's really weird. Also, just a little note for anyone out there who might be watching this who sees themselves as one day becoming a screenwriter. You need to understand that the only people, in theory, the only people who are going to be reading this script are the director and the actors. And in theory, if it's a movie like this where it's huge and then the script gets released online, someone like me is going to be reading this script. But when you look at the script, there are moments where it says something like, Gotham City, it's like hell has risen up above the ground, or something like that. And it has all of this really flowery purple prose that does not come through in the movie itself. The actors do not need purple prose like, he smashes his ribs in with glee, something like that. It's not exactly what's in the script, but there are moments like that that get really carried away with the descriptions, and that's not something that really comes through when an audience is watching the movie. When you're writing a script, just give the bare minimum. Just give the facts. Set up the scene. Say, Gotham City, wide shot, exterior, nighttime, something like that. Let the set designer, let the costume makers, let the director figure everything else out. You don't have to be writing a novel when you're writing a script. They are two very different forms of media. So that was something that I feel like Ham was doing a lot at the beginning, and then he kind of eased up on that as you got further into the script. But overall, let's see, there is a scene where Joker crashes the stock market somehow. I don't know how he does it. With the movie, it's pretty sloppy. There's a lot of stuff that Joker does in the movie that doesn't make any sense, like him poisoning beauty products, the people of Gotham finding out that the beauty products are poison, and then just stop using the beauty products instead of ordering new ones from, like, San Diego or something like that. Why don't they just do that? Why is Gotham a self-sustaining city where beauty products aren't going out to other cities and aren't coming into this city? Stuff like that doesn't make any sense, but at least you know, okay, Joker has this chemical, he's poisoning the beauty supplies, that kind of makes sense. In this movie, off-screen, Joker somehow crashes the stock market, it doesn't make any sense, and then he holds the city for ransom, sort of, but then he doesn't want anything. So there's a lot here. I forgot to talk about Dick Grayson, just when I think I'm done with this video. Dick Grayson is in this. Joker more or less accidentally kills the Flying Graysons while he's trying to get away from Batman, and then Dick Grayson is angry, Batman takes him in, and then at one point Dick tries to leave Wayne Manor, Bruce fights him a little bit, and then Dick figures out that he's Batman, Batman, and then at the end, when Bruce is in the Batplane and then he gets shot down, Dick Grayson is the one who saves him, gets him out, and then Batman ends up drugging him so that he won't try to go after the Joker, and then at the end, okay, Batman and Robin are a thing. I'm really glad the movie did not do that. I like Robin, but I think you need to spend a lot more time on his origin than what this script did. I think this is almost laughable how little Dick Grayson actually has here. It feels like Sam Hamm felt obligated to throw Robin in there because everyone knows that Batman's sidekick is Robin from the 60s Batman show. But I really like what the movie did in taking its time with Batman and then introduce Robin later on. Now, you probably could have done him in the next movie, maybe, but I like that they didn't do it in this movie. So that's something that is very different from the movie. Like I said, the first half is almost exactly the same as the movie we got, and then it just starts taking all these crazy turns with Knox finding out that Bruce is Batman somehow. Vicky doesn't want to be with Batman. In the movie, you get the feeling that these two maybe are still going to be a couple in the future, but here she is not okay with Bruce being Batman, kind of like in Batman Begins, how Rachel, she is like, you have a mask on, and whenever you're able to put away your mask for good, maybe we can be together. It's something kind of like that with Vicky and Bruce here. Then you have the introduction of Robin, you have Joker just acting very different than he did in the movie. So it's very interesting. If you are interested in the 1989 Batman movie, if you like the movie, even if you don't like it, but you're still fascinated with it and you want to see how they got to where they were, I would recommend just go to Google, type in Sam Hamm Batman script, and you'll find it pretty easily. It took me a few days to read it. I didn't rush through it, but I found this to be interesting. There were some things I liked and some things I didn't like. So that's about it that I have for this video. I hope you guys like this one, and I will talk to you in the future with more videos. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day.